Do churches just want our money? Well, they do want your money, but maybe not for the reason you're thinking. I'm Kyler, one of the pastors at Liquid Church, and we're tackling the most frequently asked faith questions. Today's question, do churches just want money? All right, let's dive into the topic of money. I'll start with the most obvious reason why a church would need money. Typically, churches have overhead costs in order to function. If they meet in a building, there's rent or a mortgage, electricity, heat, and water bills to pay for, so a lot of the same bills you and I have. And churches need to pay their staff too. Most churches have payroll, even if it's just for a few people. Beyond the basic costs, to literally keep the lights on, churches exist to serve the people in their community and the world. So, when you give to a church, you help make those services possible. Let me give you some examples. Churches often operate food banks. They give money to feed and clothe the homeless. They help others pay their rent and bills. They may provide school supplies to local kids or pay to rehab a local community center. They also provide services like mentoring, counseling, kids camps, marriage classes, and leadership training, mostly at no cost to the people benefiting from them. Churches often also participate in global causes, raising money to benefit those less fortunate around the world. I'll give an example from our own church. Entirely due to people faithfully giving their money, Liquid Church has funded over 360 clean water wells in 9 nations, bringing clean drinking water to over 130,000 people in Central America and Africa. Here's an important thing to note. The people who give to a church don't do it because the pastor twisted their arms. God actually states clearly in the Bible how He wants people to give. In 2 Corinthians 9, verses 6 to 7, He says, "You must each decide in your heart how much to give, and don't give reluctantly or in response to pressure. For God loves a person who gives cheerfully." So people shouldn't give because they feel guilt or shame or forced to do so. People should give cheerfully because they value the work their church is doing. The last thing I want to point out is that it's not just the church that wants your money to thrive and serve others as previously mentioned, but God Himself wants you to give. God's specific about this. In the Bible, He says that His followers should practice tithing. Tithing is a biblical principle that says when you put God first in your finances by giving your local church the first 10% of your earnings, He will bless your life. Look, I get it. Tithing can feel like a radical idea. And when you go to church, any church, they're going to ask you for money. It can feel awkward if you're not used to it. Not to mention, there are stories out there about pastors who own private jets and mansions, and it makes you wonder what people's money is going toward. But I assure you that that is not the norm. Remember, you get to choose what local church you attend and what local church you give to. So use your judgment. Okay, that was a lot of information. To recap, here are your 3 key takeaways. Churches exist to serve you and others. Churches are only able to do the good work in the community through people's generosity. And God has amazing blessings in store for those who choose to be generous. Thanks for watching. If this video was helpful, please pass along to your friends using the share button below, and feel free to drop a question of your own in the comments.